Would you please warmly welcome Tom Hayden?
Thank you very much. I'm so pleased to be here with the All Saints community today because this community was very much the target of the Bush administration's Internal Revenue Service, who attacked it because of the anti-war remarks and anti-war activism that emanated from your congregation. And you were a stand-in for so many congregations around the United States, and the fact that there was a spirit of resistance and no caving in to the Bush policies of politicizing the IRS. I think people all across the country, thousands of people in religious communities, large and small, owe a great feeling of gratitude to All Saints. You really, really deserve it, and I'm very glad to be here, and thank you. I believe that the peace movement was a major factor in a very broad sense. The anti-war feelings among the American people in 2006 and 2008 in shifting the parameters of discussion about the Iraq war and the longer war that the Pentagon envisions across the Middle East and into Asia. And I think that the outcome, the commitment last Friday by President Obama, is one that we should celebrate. We should pause, because we have to end the cynicism of those who said our voices don't matter. What the president said for the first time was that he would not only establish a timeline of 16 months for the withdrawal of combat troops, but he would also add a withdrawal of all additional troops. Those are counterterrorism troops, advisors, trainers, by 1 year later. So we finally have a process in play that started with criticism of the Iraq war, that turned to a debate over how to end it, that became a debate about deadlines, that became an agreement between the government of Iraq and the Bush administration that all troops would be out, all meaning all, and that finally resulted in Barack Obama, for the first time last Friday, committing himself to all troops, all meaning all, out by the end of 2011. And I know there will be some who don't believe it. There are some who think it's much too long a process. But I have to tell you, when troops start leaving and they're heading for the exits, it goes by very rapidly. And on the way, there will be neoconservatives, people at the American Enterprise Institute, Republicans in Congress, and some, not all, generals on the ground in Iraq who will do anything they can to subvert and prevent and block this withdrawal, because they have a different view and they didn't expect this person to be president. So rather than worrying about whether he means it, I suggest we all worry about the people who are trying to undermine the withdrawal from Iraq. Secondly, Afghanistan. Some will say, with I think plenty of reason, that one of the reasons that he's withdrawing from Iraq is to send troops to Afghanistan. It's really more accurate to say it's part of a long war that was imagined by the Bush administration to include Israel, Palestine, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and beyond, a war that is against so-called enemies where two things are apparent. You're talking here about the Muslim world, and you're talking about sources of oil and pipelines for oil, interlaid in a very toxic brew of religion and economic interests. And it will not be easy to extricate from this process. A lot of people will be supportive of what the administration is doing. But I think it would be prophetic for clergy and for congregations to stand up today as they stood up in 2002 at a time when the public is confused, and point out that the 17,000 additional troops are nowhere near any kind of military solution. You're talking about fewer troops and bigger battlefields, much bigger battlefields, and it's really a quagmire that is ahead of us. Already, the taxpayer has spent $173 billion on Afghanistan alone. The administration plans to spend $144 billion this year. If that continues, with indirect costs like hospitalization of wounded troops, repair of machinery, and so on, if you use the analysis of Dr. Stiglitz from Harvard and Ms. Bilmetz, it will be a $1 trillion cost minimum to the Obama administration in its first term, at a time when the economy of the United States has collapsed and there is no money apparently for anyone except businessmen running to the president asking for salvation from capitalism. Money for banks, yes. Money for war. I don't know where the money is coming from. Secondly, the casualties will only mount. American casualties have been 600 since 2001, 2002. If you send in 17,000 more troops, that's 17,000 more targets, and they will be in close proximity to the Taliban and the other insurgents. So casualties will go up. So by the end of the first term of the Obama administration, it's easy to forecast 1,000 American battlefield deaths or more, and tenfold the number of wounded, amputees, brain damaged, hospitalized, with many multiples of that for the Afghani side and the Pakistan side. The good thing in calling for hearings by Congress is we have an administration that shows signs of being more candid with the American people. We need no more secret wars, no more secret budgeting, no more secret stuff about hiding the casualties. At a minimum, the Congress has a right to oversight and should ask the Obama administration how much money this is going to cost, make sure that it's clearly budgeted for debate and argument. How many casualties do they project? Where does it end? What's the exit strategy? All the things that were hidden from us by the Bush administration. Are they going to continue the investigation of corruption in contracts? All that sort of stuff. So hearings are the way to get a Congress that is worried and afraid of sticking its neck out, get the Congress by public pressure back into doing what they can do that we can't, which is forcing the divulging of information, forcing a clear accounting of costs and casualties, and setting up debates to vote up or down on this war as it goes on, which it probably will for some time. So it started with the peace movement here, it ended with where we are now, and it starts again today. And I thank you very much for your enduring patience. Thank you very, very much.